Get out of your damn house, whatever it takes. I understand everyone has different circumstances. You have kids to take care of, you have things to take care of, but I'm going to challenge you to become a problem solver and not accept things at face value. I'm going to challenge you to think outside of the box and say, okay, what if I had to get out of the house? How would I solve this problem? How often could I do it? Could it be twice a week to start? Could it be once a week to start? I've worked with a lot of clients where they're really lonely in entrepreneurship. And I said, who do you talk to on a daily basis besides like your clients? And they'll say, nobody. And I've given them action plans to get their asses out of the house and find a place to work. And they are exponentially happier and they are exponentially more productive.
Welcome, everybody, to the Chris Harder Show, where we are making you unapologetic about your pursuit of success, knowing that when good people like you make good money, they can then do great things. My name is Chris Harder, and several times per week, I will bring you epic guests, solo episodes, and every single tool, trick, and skill set you need to grow your business, grow your money mindset, and to grow your wealth to levels that you have never reached before. I've ended up in a unique place in life where I've got the experience, the connections, and all of the secrets that it takes to be successful. And I'm lifting the curtain to reveal it all to you in an effort to help put you in a position of abundance so great that you can then be as generous as possible. So let's lock arms and let's get started.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Chris Harder Show, where today I'm grateful to not be so lonely in entrepreneurship. And that's exactly what today's episode is about. And by the way, if you're like, why in the world do you start with what he's grateful for? I just love to lead by example. I am a huge believer that you get what you look for. I'm a huge believer that you have to stop and take inventory of what you do have, because you have way more than you give yourself credit for. It's like this invisible balance sheet that you never account for. And when you know that you have more going for you than you thought before you stopped to have any kind of gratitude practice, then you realize you have a little bit stronger jumping off point than you thought, which gives you more confidence, which gets you better results. So I am all in on that gratitude train, and I'm always just trying to show you guys by example. Now, when I said I'm grateful that I'm not as lonely in entrepreneurship anymore, that's a real thing. Some of you are probably experiencing that. Some of you have probably heard people say that entrepreneurship can be a really lonely game. And there's many reasons for it. For some people, it might feel that way because you're always working from home and you're not around other people. Or for others, it might feel like you're this great big dreamer and you've got these great big plans, and the people in your town or in your neighborhood or in your family or in your certain friend group, they just literally can't see what you see. They literally don't understand why you're so driven, and that can make you feel lonely. And in my case, all of my really good friends live all around the country. And so for a while, as we started spending more and more time in California here, remember we split time between Scottsdale and California, but as we spend more and more time in California, it's like, man, all of my friends don't live right here in Newport Beach. Now, whose fault is it that I felt lonely waking up every single day? It's nobody else's fault. It's my fault. Just like everything in life. If something's wrong, you have to stop and say, where am I responsible for this? How can I take 100% responsibility for this? And if I can accept that I'm 100% responsible for it, then I can accept that I'm 100% capable of putting myself in a different place. Because if I put myself here, that means I've got myself to put myself there. And a lot of you might think, well, what are you talking about, man? You and Lori, you've got a great relationship and you get to work together. You're both entrepreneurs and you get to dream together. How can that be lonely? Well, one, we work on very separate businesses. She's full-time Glossy, I'm full-time Frello. And, we come together on the personal brand a bit and on the masterminds, but we're really building separate businesses. Two, you don't want to sit and talk business with your spouse all the time. You just don't. And three, we're different humans, right? She has certain sets of emotions and thoughts and goals and drivers, and she's very different because she's a different human and a woman. And then, of course, I've got very different sets of goals and drivers and triggers, etc. And that's because I'm a very different human. So even though you have another entrepreneur in the household, those of you might think, oh, well, that's got to keep it from feeling lonely. No, it can still be a very lonely sport. I think the other one I didn't mention, forgive me if I did already, when you're really on a rocket ship, when you're really doing some big things, that in itself can feel lonely too, because a lot of people don't understand the level of challenges that you have. A lot of people don't understand the level of stress that you have, or they can't identify why you're making certain financial moves because they don't understand the magnitude of, what's at risk or what you're building or what it costs, etc. So it can feel very lonely when you're doing really big things and everyone else is doing medium-sized things or maybe just smaller hobbies that pay them, and to each their own, by the way. But this just another thing that can cause you to feel a little bit lonely. So I've done 3 things that has changed the game for me when it comes to feeling lonely in entrepreneurship and getting rid of that feeling. Like, this is one of the best I have ever felt in entrepreneurship right now, is because I've changed these 3 things. And I wanted to share them with you because maybe it'll spark an idea of what you can do differently as well. So thing number 1, you hear me talk about it a lot if you listen to this show or the He Said, She Said that Lori and I do together. But I went and I joined the Newport Beach TTC, the tennis and pickleball country club over here. And that has been a game changer for a couple of reasons. One, I met a lot of guy friends. There's a lot of like-minded individuals there. The whole club feels like it's all entrepreneurs or hard-charging professionals that are also athletic and also competitive. And so it's real easy to meet like-minded guys over there. And that's been a game changer. But then took it a step further. Got a friend of mine to join, John Bowles, and John said, hey, if we're going to join, we're going to take this serious. We're going to take lessons and we're going to get really good. And everything that John does is to a very high standard in life. He said, I'm not going to be a good pickleball player. I'm going to be a great pickleball player. And we're going to get to that point together. And so having somebody to grow with and take lessons with and play in pairs with and go challenge other people with, and then be around the community and the camaraderie. I'm typically there at least 2 evenings a week after work for 60 or 90 minutes. And then I'm there, Saturday mornings or Sunday mornings, at least one of the two, playing for hours on end, like I just got back from doing. And so being a part of community where I had to choose to go and try something new and insert myself into an existing structure and even pay to do it in that situation, that is change number 1. So how can that relate to you? Well, there's communities in your area that you're not bothering researching. There's communities in your area that you might think, that's outside of my comfort zone. There's communities in your area that you haven't really given a chance to or bothered to look for. But if you would stop and say, okay, what are some wild things that I could join? Why can't I try them on for size? Then as you try these things on for size, you're going to say, oh, that was not a fit. But then you try something else on for size, you say, oh, wait, this might be a fit. This feels pretty good. And before you know it, you're going to have found community too. Now, the key is this. Find a high-level community, find a driven community, find a community of performers, right? So choose your community wisely, because if you feel lonely in entrepreneurship because other people don't understand your high standards or your crazy work ethic, well, then go seek communities where other people would have a higher propensity of also being like-minded as well. So that's thing number 1 that has been a game changer for me. Thing number 2 that's been a game changer for me is, instead of just sitting and working in the house, I purposely drag myself out of the house almost every single day. And let's be real for a minute. It'd be way easier to stay in the house, right? We've got a ton of space. It's beautiful here. I've got ocean views. I've got my dogs. It's comfortable. So it'd be easier to stay in the house. But I purposely drag myself out of the house every day. And it started by going over and working at this really trendy workspace here in Newport Beach, right on the water. I get to stare at the yachts, and there's lots of really cool people that work there. And I've gotten to know people there. They've gone from stranger to acquaintance to friends that I count on seeing when I'm there. So I found a really cool workspace where you can just drop in whenever you want. That's been a game changer. But then I was like, how can I expand this a little bit more? And I've learned, like, my human design and my Enneagram, I demand variety. It's how I'm built. That's what my DNA is. I need variety. So then I'm like, my gym, Lifetime over here, is huge. It's got this massive workspace. Sometimes I'm in a rush to get done with my workout and then go home real quick, grab my work stuff, and then run to the workspace. I'm like, why wouldn't I just work here? And it's been awesome, because some days I'll stay right there at Lifetime and I'll work at Lifetime. And when I'm in between calls, I'll go shoot buckets, or when I'm in between calls, I'll go stretch. And there's always lots of high vibe people around me. They've got a great cafeteria, so I'm always ordering like good, healthy food while I'm there working. So now I kind of bounce it back and forth between this workspace and just staying at the gym in this massive workspace that they have. Now, some of you may not have gyms that have that, but again, find yourself in the story. What is something you have in your community where other people are working? A lot of people go and work in hotel lobbies where it's really vibey. There's a ton of people coming and going, a lot of business people, and they go work there all the time. If you've ever heard Jesse Itzer's story, he used to go work at the Beverly Hills Hotel, I think it was, every single day. So he could be around high performers, be around the vibe, be around the hustle and bustle. And that's how he made a lot of his greatest contacts, was by working there every single day when he was just starting out. So is there a cool hotel lobby? Is there a cool coffee shop? Is there a cool restaurant? Is there a cool extension to your gym? Or could you switch gyms that has a really cool vibey workplace built into it? So that's been the second thing, is getting out and going. And actually, once in a while, I go to really cool hotels myself and work. Like I'll go up to Pelican Hill on a Friday and work up there. It's beautiful views, and there's a ton of people coming and going, and they got a lot of cool workspaces. So, thing number 2 that I did was I got out of the house even when I didn't feel like it every single day. That improved the loneliness. And then switching locations based on that being my human design and my, my craving of variety. Now I look forward to, where am I going to work today? Who am I going to see? And that energy really fuels me. It really feeds me. So get out of your damn house, whatever it takes. I understand everyone has different circumstances. You have kids to take care of, you have things to take care of, but I'm going to challenge you to become a problem solver and not accept things at face value. I'm going to challenge you to think outside of the box and say, okay, what if I had to get out of the house? How would I solve this problem? How often could I do it? Could it be twice a week to start? Could it be once a week to start? I've worked with a lot of clients where they're really lonely in entrepreneurship. I'll say, where do you work? And they'll say, well, I've got this beautiful home office here. And I said, who do you talk to on a daily basis besides like your clients? And they'll say, nobody. Like it's just me here. And then I'm taking care of the kids and I don't talk to any adults or get face-to-face time. And I've given them action plans to get their asses out of the house and find a place to work for a minimum of 2 days a week, no matter what it took. And they are exponentially happier and they are exponentially more productive. So thing number 2, get your tail out of the house and go find cool, vibey places full of high performers to work at. Trust me, it's going to expand your network. And then thing number 3, I've always put on dinners and I've continued that. But now I've been choosing to go to other people's dinners. Other people that are putting on dinners, like I'm driving up to LA in a couple of weeks here. My buddy John Maxim's putting on one. And listen, I don't feel like driving all the way up to LA. I really don't. If you guys live in Orange County, or if you've been to Orange County, you compare it to LA. LA is a disgusting busy shit show compared to being down in Orange County. And that drive up there is terrible, and the drive back after dinner is terrible. So there's nothing about driving up there that I like, but I like having these dinners full of entrepreneurs to go to, right? So again, a lot of the things that are going to be good for you aren't going to feel good until you're up there doing it and you realize, this is what I needed all along. So I've been choosing to go to other people's dinners. There's a guy in town here in Orange County that puts on dinners. I just found a second guy that puts on dinners. So going to their dinners, where I'm not the one curating it, has been a game changer. Now, I still curate dinners because I love doing it, but it's taken some of the burden, some of the pressure off of me, especially when I feel like I've got a really busy schedule right now, in order to go and expand my circle by plugging into other people's circles. And that's something that Lori and I have taught all along. The fastest way to a new circle is by plugging into other people's circles. Just like the fastest way to grow your podcast is by getting on other people's podcasts where there's other listeners and then driving back to yours. Or the fastest way to find clients is to go teach into communities of people who are already paying clients. So borrowing other people's communities is an absolute hack for also curing that loneliness in entrepreneurship. So those 3 things: join a club full of high-level people. What kind of club could you join? What kind of community could you join? I got my ass out of the house. That's number 2, into vibey places where high performers are working. And I've grown relationships by being in proximity to all of them. And then thing number 3, dinners. So maybe yours is lunches, maybe it's dinners. There's people in your community putting these things on or wanting to put these things on. Do it with them or attend the ones that they're already doing it. I'd love to hear what you guys are doing to kind of cure the entrepreneurial loneliness. It's a real thing, but it doesn't have to stay a thing. And when you do, let's dust off the old saying. You'll make more money. And when good people make good money, they can do great things. Hey, thanks for listening. And by the way, if you want a great online community where Lori and I are teaching you on Tuesdays, and you've got a coach for every business discipline totally free to you, where you can ask them unlimited questions as much as you want about your specific business. You can ask them 100 questions a day if you want. You don't have to pay for the coaches. We do. There's a literally a wellness coach, an accountability coach, a social media coach, a podcast coach, a tech coach, an AI coach. There's a sales coach. There's a marketing coach. There's a coach for everything in this community, totally free. So you don't have to pay for them. We pay for them. All you have to do is be in the community. Weekly calls. We force you guys to meet each other, even though it's online. The coolest meetups are happening because of Mentor Collective Mastermind. So people are meeting up in this town, or they're meeting up in that town, or they realize they live in the same town and they're meeting up for coffee once a week now. So if you want to be a part of that, go check it out. There's a waiting list right now, but when we open it up, you want to be at the front of the waiting list. Trust me. When we open it up, you want to already be on the waiting list. Go check it out at chrisharder.me/mentor. That is chrisharder.me.me/mentor. chrisharder.me/mentor. All right, guys, let's cure that entrepreneurial loneliness. Let me know what you're going to do. DM me. Love and appreciate you listening.
Thanks for listening. And if you loved this episode and know of someone else who is as successful as they are generous, please pass them on to me. It would mean the world to me if you help me get this cause and this message out to as many listeners as I can. So please, if you liked what you heard, it goes a long way if you take 30 seconds and leave me a 5-star review and share this with your friends. I'll be forever grateful. And until the next episode, cheers to your success.